Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now I'm gonna get punched in the face today. Oh, I wish I was still in yesterday. Hey! Well, this video I really didn't want to make. Being a fan of a certain fighter, I didn't really want to see this fight happen, but it's gonna happen, so maybe I'll just give my breakdown on it, or a prediction for the fight. The fight is for the April 9th fight for the Interim WBA World Light Welterweight Title, and that's between Marcos Maidana and Erik Morales. So Chino versus El Terrible. And I'm going to break down both fighters and then give my prediction. And I'll start with Marcos Maidana, who is 29-2 with 27 knockouts, 28 years old. His two losses, one was against a very, very solid fighter in Kotelnik, and one who I think is an elite fighter in Amir Khan. He couldn't knock out Corley, who was knocked out by Matisse. So maybe you're questioning whether or not he can really knock out the elite fighters, or up there. I think Matisse did great against you. Anyway, but he starched out Kyle, made Ortiz quit. He is so we know he's a very good fighter. Has the immense power. He punishes you. Even if you block his shots, it still hurts. He comes at you in a very aggressive, methodical, straightforward kind of thing. Unfortunately, when he backs up, it is just straight back. He's not exactly the most, he's not the quickest fighter, but he throws a lot of punches, throws a lot of jabs. The right hands are deadly. He tends to get open when he's throwing his shots, his power shots. He goes wide with those. That's the hooks, any of those. Punishes the body. Struggles with boxers that put distance between him in fights. So, he's willing to take two to give one. Open for flush shots. Still drops both hands when he's throwing his with power. So if he's loading up and throwing with the right hand, the left hand goes down when he's throwing. Same thing, he's throwing left, the right goes down, which leaves him open. He can be countered very well. We saw that with the Khan fight. We also saw while his chin maybe, he has the heart. He's going to bring it. He was down 3 times in the Ortiz fight. Might have been 4, I don't know. 3 times. And he still comes back. This man tests your heart, he tests your soul, he tests your chin, tests everything about you, and you've got to be ready to bring it in order to beat him. You need to be a top boxer. He will get you into a war. And look at what with Khan in the 10th round, even though Khan had banked all those points, still, what a round that was. You could still see, because of his determination and the fact he still comes forward and stuff, he always has a shot in the fight. He's never out. He can be a bit dirty, as evidenced in the Corley fight, but didn't really see it too much in the Khan fight. He does get rid of the elbows and stuff. So, looking at it, he's one of the top light welterweights in the world, and he's there for a reason. And he is a true light welterweight. Okay? Going over to Erik Morales, El Terrible. He's 51-6 with 35 knockouts, 61% knockout ratio there. He's a former, the Olympian, former WBC Super Bantamweight, and that was in '97. WBO Super Bantamweight 2000. WBC Featherweight 2001. Former WBC Super Featherweight, in 2004. IBF Super Featherweight 2004. And I keep saying former because he's former. He took 3 years off, or 2.5 years, however you want to put that. However makes you feel better about, he had the wars with Barrera. He had the wars with Pacquiao. He fought the best of the best of the best, in there. Also after those, he lost, he fought the best, beat the best, and then turned around and lost to the best. He beat Barrera before he lost to him twice. He beat Pacquiao before he lost to him twice. So, and those were at much lighter weights, by the way, that he beat them and then lost to him. He's, he's a great fighter. He can do everything. Was a great fighter. Could do everything. He box, slug, brawl, counterpunch, but he gives in to wars, and that's always been his drawdown. Is his heart could be too much for his body. He is willing to subject himself to needless hits in order to get his off. He could box, he could counterpunch. He chooses not to. And I believe that was ultimately his demise. His heart was what kept him. He's great. You can't take that away from him. You can't. But as far as being like, he could have been, okay? How much is really left in his tank? Is this just a comeback fight for money? 3 fights in the comeback, all of them, all for titles. None of the guys that he fought were light welterweights. They were all lightweights or, lightweight in Le Mans. Went the distance with Alfaro, who's been knocked out 4 times. And he was knocked out in 6 rounds against his last fight, Lorenzo. Went the distance. He was 39. So I mean, the guys he's fighting, so even after all that, I said, you know what? Let me look at these fights. Let me watch them and let me see what I get out of it. Maybe there's something there. So in his last fight, I watched it, and that was against Lorenzo. He was he looked a bit pudgy. And what I mean by that is, when you see fighters, you see the cuts in their, in their delts, you see the tries, you see the biceps, the abs, all that stuff with elite fighters. You see they're in shape, they're right there. And Morales doesn't. He looks like he's carrying too much, almost like Juan Manuel Marquez when he goes up above lightweight. When he goes up above 135, that's not his lane. So he looks out of it. I watched, he's much slower, he's not as crisp, he still throws the combos, but there's something missing from him. He's open for that right hand, especially an overhand right. And this one I did just because I had to. In his last 20 fights, he's only knocked out 7 of his opponents. So he would, and 6 of his losses came in that. So he's 14-6 with 7 knockouts. So if you look at that, and that's all once he stepped up above super bantamweight. So once he moved up from 121, his knockouts dropped dramatically. His winning percentage and all that stuff dropped dramatically as well. So once he stepped up in weight and started going up against the other guys, bigger guys, it started failing. He's never fought a true light welterweight. And I think I think this is going to be horrible. I think Maidana is going to knock him out in the 6th round. I think it's going to be a punishing fight. And, if Morales shows me anything in it, I hope he shows good. I hope he makes it to the distance. I just don't see it happening. I think this is going to be a very painful fight. And if you're a Morales fan, I don't know if I'd watch it. So, please comment, rate, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe he taps that fountain of youth one last time and doesn't test positive afterward. And, we see something. We see it. Who wouldn't want to see him go against Barrera or Pacquiao again or any of those guys, Who wouldn't want to see that? But I don't think we are. Okay? Well, hey, this is Bigragu. I'm out.